Welcome, Internet, to the PixelPlay Podcast. We are now in Season 3? Or how are we doing this? Season 3 or Season 1 of the rebrand?
Wait, we have seasons?
I don't know. This is our third year. We're actually coming up. It'll be our third year, 2-year anniversary soon.
I mean, we've rebranded recently, so I guess if you want to talk about a seasonal thing here, I guess when, we added this guy here, I guess it counts.
Okay, I'll decide. Season 3, Part 1.
All right, fine. Okay.
Welcome, Internet, to Season 3, Part 1 of the PixelPlay Podcast, your weekly podcast where we get together to discuss anything we want to in video game. We get 3 hosts, we get a couple topics, we just bullshit and talk about video games, and we appreciate you joining us for that. In this week, we're going to be talking about trophies and achievements and whether or not they hinder or ruin games. We're also going to be talking about games coming out in 2023 and devise a sort of hit or shit list, so stick around for that. As always, I am your host, Kaylan, aka Catastrophe, joined by my co-host, Adam CS Radical, and as always, Chris, aka Jin and Chris. Gentlemen, how are you guys doing? How's the new year? How were the holidays?
Fantastic. I bought too many games. Stupid sales.
I bought some games, not too many.
I ended up buying 6 games on Steam, all JRPGs, I think, except for some reason I saw 2 Lego games that aren't like Lego The Hobbit or something, cozy ass Lego games called Lego Builders and Lego Brick Tales.
I've heard of those.
Yeah, I just saw them and I was like, ooh, those look cozy, and grabbed both of them because it's the Steam Winter Sale.
Nice.
Grabbed a couple PlayStation games. I'm ashamed almost to say them because normally I would never get a sports game, but I got FIFA 23 because I'm still on the hype.
I've heard your reasons though; they're acceptable.
Yeah, Ted Lasso's in there, the World Cup's in there, and apparently it came out that Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney, or however you say his name from It's Always Sunny, they own a team in England, and apparently in the game you can hear them. They actually have their voices shit talking the other team when you're playing, so that's pretty funny that you can hear them. Yeah, so there's some good things in there.
Yeah, if there's any sports game that I will be willing to accept, that's one of them. MLB The Show is the other one, but that's because I think they actually try with those games.
Yeah,
but if we're talking EA games, I agree. FIFA's probably the one that I can let you get away with because it seems like they're trying to do something with it.
Yeah.
As a Canadian, I cannot advise anyone to buy NHL games because those are literal copy and paste every year.
And Madden won't even keep your saves, so don't even go down that way.
Well, you made that mistake. You still have to live with those choices that you made.
That was supposed to be an April Fool's joke. I just actually followed through and finished playing the story mode, okay? Stupid Madden 20.
And how did that work out for you?
It was awful. I'll never play a Madden game ever again. But I also bought Sonic Frontiers, so I'm even more of a problem on other things. I have actual thoughts about that, but that'll probably be another episode once I've actually thrown more into it.
Yeah, I mean, I got a couple of things, but they're mostly small things that I'll try because Game Pass doesn't have them. So I picked up Trivial Pursuit 2 on PlayStation just because it's something to kill in the past. I'm a big trivia guy, so it's something just to kill a half an hour if I got nothing else to do. And then on Steam, and I'm starting to play through one of them right now. It's called Cyber Manhunt, which is a hacking game.
That sounds cool.
And then I have another game which I'm really excited to try called Not for Broadcast. So Chris, you probably know of games like Her Story.
Oh yeah.
So it's an FMV game, but instead of just trying to find out through those, you're actually behind the switchboard of a network. And I guess I haven't played it yet, but it sounds like what the game is sort of about is that you decide what makes air or not. So it's almost like you're the sensor.
That's hilarious.
That is amazing. I just
it's not. I don't think it's meant to be for comedic purposes. I think it's legitimately gonna do some politics level stuff and be hey, these are stuff that no one should be hearing kind of thing.
I hope it goes fully unhinged.
It might do both, honestly.
There's a story of the lizard people, and they're you gotta cut this. They can't go to air. And it's you look over and your boss is a lizard person, and
it just turns to a Silent Hill ending where it's just been a dog the whole time.
You get or you're doing sport. You go to sports and you have to watch out for people just lifting their shirts up and stuff. And
oh yeah,
that'd be fun.
That would be fun. I want to try this.
But yeah, game-wise,
DLC for them.
Game-wise, it's been pretty quiet though. Most of the stuff that I'm looking forward to, Game Pass is popping out the other 2 Persona games because they've already got 5 Royal out on Game Pass, which I've already played, so I'm out on that. But they're re-releasing 3 and 4, and 4 I've played, but I'll probably go to every time because it's one of my favorites. But 3 I have not played since it originally came out, and we're talking over 10 years ago. So I'm excited to get back into those. Those come out, I believe, on the 19th on Game Pass. So
yeah, it's the 19th, I think.
It's definitely something that JRPG fans are clamoring for, especially if you're an Xbox fan, because Persona's been a PlayStation property for the longest time. So
yeah.
But other than that, we obviously have a lot of 2023 games that are going to be coming out.
So my shot to talk about what I got.
Games. You're right. I figured as a dad you were still too busy playing Elden Ring or something, you know.
Let me drive, sir. I got a cold. That's what I got over Christmas. No, I picked up Far Cry 6. I'm no better than Chris. It was like $20, and I'm like, I feel like $20 is that sweet spot for Far Cry 6. Like, is it gonna be good? I don't know, probably not. But
yes,
at
least
it's always fun to just go and just cause mayhem in some tropical destination. So I'm excited for that one.
I'd pick it up for 20. You should feel no shame. No shame.
I mean, it's no Far Cry 5, don't get me wrong. It's not as fun as killing Westboro Baptist Church like cult people, but you know.
Far Cry 3 is obviously the superior one, and then Far Cry 4 wasn't too bad. And then Far Cry 6 didn't resonate. Like the environment was just
most of what I understood with it is people were just really excited because of the lead actor for the villain. I already forget his name. Giancarlo something, I think it is, Chris.
Giancarlo Esposito, sir. Show some respect.
Because I also didn't watch Breaking Bad, so.
What?
Oh, do we have to have the conversation of all the shows that I either have tried and dropped or never even started watching? Because like Walking Dead, Game of Thrones, Breaking Bad, Mad Men.
we're not gonna have this whole conversation because like we only have so much time to talk. But are you saying you've never watched Breaking Bad, or you watched a couple episodes and it wasn't your thing?
Out of the 4 I listed, Breaking Bad's the only one that I never tried, but it also never interested me in the first place. So it's just one of those shows that just passed me by.
No, I can't stand for this. Like, you have to watch Breaking Bad.
Have we not established that I have bad taste?
We have, but my goal as your friend is to bring you up a level, sir.
Nope.
And like I've
fallen too far. You can't. There's no rope that you can extend that will get me out of the hole that I'm in.
I would say Breaking Bad is the greatest show of all time. It has its problems. I find like there's some filler episodes, and I feel like it's one of those shows where it's kind of like the beginning and the end is really important, and there's a little bit like not going on in the middle. But I would say Breaking Bad is the most consistent show. Great story. It doesn't like have a weird season where it goes off the rails. Like it. And Game of Thrones was going to do this, but Game of Thrones was doing it like a 9.910 gymnastics, did the landing and just shattered their ankle and bones went everywhere. But
best description.
Breaking Bad stuck the landing start to finish. It is probably the best and most consistent show that you should watch.
Okay, I won't get
Chris,
around
where
to
do you
it.
feel on Breaking Bad?
So Breaking Bad, I haven't finished it. I love the show, but the first time I watched it, I was in season 1 and it was just stressing me out so much. I'm like, I need a break, and I haven't gone back. So I think I just need to go and do that. You guys not because I didn't like it. I loved it.
We can't keep getting away with this. See, I at least know memes.
We're gonna have to start a second podcast where we're just gonna do a watch through of Breaking Bad.
No. People are gonna have to start donating to this fictional Patreon that we don't have before that starts happening.
Watching Breaking
Bad. We'll make that a tier.
Sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends.
Oh yeah. God.
They're not paying. Remember, they're just giving us pizza.
Yeah. That's right.
I'll watch pizza. I'll eat pizza while I watch Breaking Bad. That sounds perfect.
I can't believe neither of you have completed Breaking Bad.
No.
It is.
I'll do it though. That's going to be one of my New Year's resolutions now.
Yeah, come back.
So in other words, you'll start it, and a week later you'll give up on it.
No, I won't give up. Like, I just gotta not play a game and watch a show instead.
That's with your backlog, when are you gonna find time?
I have to actually unplug things. Oh, I watch on the PS5. That's gonna be rough.
Honestly, it's gonna be one of the situations where like I just can't believe you guys haven't seen this. Like, and you guys are watching it in the perfect way because I streamed the first 4 seasons. I think there's 5, whatever. 5 is broken up in like 5.1.2, like that kind of stupid thing. Regardless. I got in late to Breaking Bad. I streamed the first whatever seasons, and then it was great. And then I had to watch the final season episode like week by week. Oh my God, it killed me because I would just be like, oh no, I want to see what happens next. The fact that you guys can stream the whole thing is just perfect.
I've honestly been so bad for shows. Like, here's how bad it is. I'm keeping up with the MCU as much as possible, and I still haven't gotten to She-Hulk.
That's your mistake right there.
That I have the time. The big one though, and Chris will know how bad this is. I love The Expanse. I still haven't watched the last season.
Oh, okay, that's a big deal for you.
And it's for whatever reason, I just can't get myself to sit down and watch it.
Because you're watching the MCU garbage. Put that
I'm
away.
not watching either of them. That's my problem. I'm so comfy at this desk that I'm like, but my TV's there. I can't do the whole action of turning myself around to go watch.
If only these streaming services worked on your
If only it was an Amazon... Oh, wait, it is an Amazon TV.
Just get a rear view mirror and just have it in the back corner. So
yeah, I'll just put my webcam on and watch it that way.
There you go. There you go. The other game, we'll pivot from this because I'm just getting infuriated just hearing your lack of watching Breaking Bad. Oh, I just don't know how you did it. Like, legitimately, you have...
You know how I did it? By not turning the TV.
I don't know how someone can have so many bad takes. Doesn't didn't watch Breaking Bad. Doesn't like The Last of Us. Speaking of The Last of Us, that was the other game I got for Christmas, and I've beaten it. I finished the Left Behind today. So once again, that game is a masterpiece. It is fantastic. I have one gripe with it though: the trophies. And this brings me to my question, the first topic of the show. Do trophies ruin games? And I'm gonna this kind of started with me playing The Last of Us. So I've played The Last of Us. This is my 4th playthrough now. And I've never platinumed the game. And partially because the original game had online components and I didn't want to deal with that. So I was like, when this came out, I looked at the trophy list. I'm like, this seems really doable. But the problem I have with it is that, and this is a problem that there is with a lot of games, is that the game requires you to go look for items, collect X, whatever, collect all the collectibles, whatever. And for me, that ruined the pacing of the game because I found myself in 2 situations. Either one, I accept that I will have to do a second playthrough of this game and go through the entire game to go pick up the collectibles that I miss, but have an immersive experience of being Joel in this post-apocalyptic wasteland. Or, and this is what I end up doing, I'm a fucking dolphin. I set up the accessibility so I can ping items, and I'm just walking around fucking echolocation like I'm a dolphin looking for fish. And everywhere I go, I'm just like, oh, is there an item here? Is there an item here? And I'm not even living in a real post-apocalyptic world now. I am just a hoarder. And it felt like it kind of ruined the experience. And I was kind of going back and forth in both of these. And I'm like, the trophy is incentivizing me to not experience this game as an experience, but rather just, as not a chore, but from I'm not having the experience that Neil Druckmann probably wants me to have. The other problem I have is that you have to get certain, you have to trigger all the speech options with the collectible characters or whatever. So Ellie might have a little time where she's going to have a one-on-one conversation with you about something. I think the one that kind of reminds me was there was an ice cream truck. Well, I'm Joel the dolphin off doing echolocation treasure hunting. And Ellie's like, hey, what's with this ice cream truck? And by the time it took me to go from where I was to go trigger this conversation, she walks off and it's gone now. So now I have to redo this whole part of the game. Fortunately, I can jump to those chapters. But I've missed out because your one trophy is encouraging me to go explore. And then the other one is encouraging me to stay close to this character who's not following me. And so now I have to go back and trophy hunt, which, I mean, do I have to? No, this is 100% a stupid, gamer problem that I have. It's not like it's something serious. But my question to you is, do trophies and trophy hunting ruin games? You have these experiences where you're having this great experience, and it doesn't even have to be let's say you did The Last of Us the way it was supposed to be, and you just played Joel as a wanderer. You're now spending another couple hours, maybe 5 to 10 hours, just going around collecting stuff. Do you care? No. So I present the question to you guys because, Chris, I know you are a trophy whore like me, and will go looking for those. I feel like I'm probably a little bit more reserved than you because I typically just save it for Pinnacle games that I like or Sony exclusives. And Chris or Adam, I know you don't give a shit. So I'm just, where do you guys fall on trophy hunting? Am I kind of out in left field? Does it ruin games? Does it add to games? What do you guys think?
Adam, you want to go first?
I mean, I don't think it necessarily ruins games, right? I think what they do is they enhance your game based on the kind of gamer that you are. I mean, obviously there are people that do the checking off bosses. You think that as a JRPG player, I would be that person, but I'm more of I'll explore my own leisure, and if I want to stop, I'll stop. It's the same with open world games, right? You could go out there and explore every single location and do every little mission, even the ones that are just the most repetitive things. Some people can be super into that, some people aren't. So I don't think necessarily that ruin is not the right word. What I think it does is it might prohibit some people from being able to see all of the game. Because there are some trophies that kind of put people off. Like, one of my favorite games of all time is Mass Effect. And Mass Effect always has trophies that are like, make sure you do X amount of these attacks. And I go, but I don't like that attack. I don't like using that attack. Why would I use that? So some of these games are also encouraging you to do things that maybe you as the player don't want to do, which can kind of frustrate you. And it's why I kind of never got into the trophy hunting aspect of things. Just because, like, every single game would always be, hey, you got to do this really obscure thing that you wouldn't do unless this was specifically the style of game you were playing. Whereas I think I've platinumed like one of the Destiny games before DLC kind of messed with that. But that was just because I played it so goddamn much that I lucked my ass into some of those achievements, just purely by happenstance. So I'm the wrong person to ask if it ruins because I'm not actually really engaging with it much. Granted, there are some trophies that I enjoy when I come across them because the naming scheme can be really funny for some of them, or like they can be weirdly obscure ones. Like I'm going to review next week a game called Chained Echoes, and there's literally an achievement that there is a shop that just sells crap. The item is literally called crap, and if you buy a piece of that and then sell it back, you sold crap, and that's an achievement. So, like, stuff like that amuses me. But in terms of fully completing, like getting a platinum or getting 100% of achievements, that part doesn't really do it for me. So, like, I don't pay much mind to them. I just play, and if I happen to unlock, let's say, 70%, cool. If I happen to unlock only 35, it doesn't make a difference to me.
Chris, what about you? Where do you fall?
So, I actually agree with you, Kaylan, that actually, I'm not all trophies and achievements, I think, ruin the experience, but I think that a lot of them do. I think, like the collectibles one, you just gave a perfect example. I also recently platinumed Last of Us remake, and I remember when I was playing it, I didn't want to do two playthroughs. I have too much of a backlog. So I actually had a guide open on my phone while I was playing the whole time, and it was a no spoilers guide, but it was just like in each chapter, these are the collectibles that you need to find. And it was like, at this point, there's going to be an ice cream truck. At this point, there's going to be this. And at this point, there's going to be this. Make sure you don't miss these three things. So I would find myself going in and out of the experience in a weird way, because when I was playing and I was like, all right, either all the collectibles for this chapter are done, or, okay, it's like a good 10 minutes until I think I get to that part. Like, I'm nowhere near that. I would just be in the story as Joel, going through it and actually experiencing everything. Especially for me, it was my first time playing it. So for me, I was actually, in it. But then once I would get and I would see that ice cream truck, all of a sudden my brain came out of the story, came out of everything. And it was more now about, okay, there's a collectible around here. I've got to make sure that I find it. Because if I miss this, I'm going to have to come back and replay this later, and I might need to restart and work my way through it, and I don't want to do that. So it's almost like this little bit of this anxiety or this little bit of this checkbox that now I need to ensure I'm going through. And it definitely does. It's not like it's a very enjoyable moment. You do get that joy when you get that platinum or you see that 100% on Xbox. And I think that's why I do it in general. I think that I got my first platinum on PS3, not even like I didn't mind my very first one. The reason I did it, as I remember, my first one was the Sega Genesis collection on PS3, whatever the heck that was called. And each game had one achievement. So it was just encouraging you to try each game, collect 50 rings or whatever is Sonic in this one, and do this and do that and do that. So I went through and it was a super easy platinum. It was like a 1 out of 10 difficulty. I did it and I saw I had that one platinum and I was like, I like that. I have to make sure I get more. But the thing is that not all games it was that easy or it made sense, because I think for that Sega Genesis example, it kind of made sense. Just give each game an achievement. I think achievements and trophies could be not something that gets in the way and could only enhance the experience. But for me, I think it makes more sense, like remove the collectibles that are missable, like making that an achievement. Like remove a lot of these like nonsense things. Put in, for the most part, all the story related achievements and trophies, like you beat chapter 1, you beat chapter 2, you beat the final boss, whatever, those make sense because you can't miss them. They're going to happen anyways. You don't even have to think about them. Maybe make a trophy and an achievement for every side quest that's available in the game, because that way if people do the side quests, at least it's a story related achievement, it's extra. But as somebody who plays like JRPGs and stuff, like doing the side quests is getting 100% in the game. It makes sense to add it in. It's not about like, oh, I might miss it. It's a side quest. You can do it at any point. Just, do the extra side quests. Like Adam, you just mentioned that sell crap achievement. I think that's funny. It's not necessarily like this, like, oh, I got to have this checklist and I can't play The Last of Us without making sure I get these 73 collectibles along the way. It's just this one moment that probably isn't missable. You can just go back and unlock it. And, the achievement even just says like, sell crap back to the guy who sells crap or something. Like those ones are fun. I think it's just that there are some achievements and some trophies that really take you out of the game, especially the very story driven ones. Yeah. And I think that those are the ones that do ruin the experience. Because like me, I get them, but I get them almost out of now this anxiety of like, well, I have 37 platinums. And if I look at my list and I see I only got like 70% in Last of Us, but all the rest show 100%, what am I doing? Why didn't I just put in the extra 3 hours and go get those collectibles?
Yeah, so, for me, platinums are a sign of like, hey, this is, for lack of a better term, like this is Kaylan's seal of approval that this game is good and that the trophies aren't bullshit. Like, I find, like, I think you're right. I think the problem isn't that trophies in itself, but just the laziness in terms of like how you make them, like find all the collectibles, it ruins it. Or when you have it where you have to do like multiplayer, like in the single player game, like I know especially in the PS3 version, there was a ton of like do the multiplayer aspects, and the problem with that is that one, eventually the servers go down, so those platinums become unattainable. But two, if you're playing a single player game, maybe you don't want to do the multiplayer. I think it's good. Like one that did it really well was Battlefield 1 actually. So Battlefield 1 had us like do the campaign, which is what I was interested in Battlefield 1 because I'm a history nerd. But it was like, hey, play the multiplayer. And the multiplayer was good. And it was more like there was no achievement in terms of like kill X amount of people or, win so many games. Or it was literally just, hey, get to level 5 of each of the 4 specialist roles, which isn't hard. Like that's pretty much just, hey, getting your feet wet with each character. And it wasn't hard, and it kind of got you to explore those different like classes. So I thought that's good. But yeah, I think doing the whole collectible thing, especially missable, there's so many collectibles and it's no one's actually going out and finding those themselves. We're all using guides or those new PlayStation hints. And so at this point, I'm not even playing your game. I'm just following a list off the internet. And at that point, I could be making a cake and that would be more rewarding than what I'm doing in your game. And is this the taste? It's like, unless I'm going with Chris's experience and I'm doing it while I'm playing it and I'm taken out of the game, your final taste in my mouth of me playing your game is going through a checklist off of a website off my phone while I'm playing your game. Is that really how you want my last experience to be with your game? And I don't know. I think collectible trophies need to die.
Yes, 100%. I think there's some that are okay. Like me and Adam sometimes have played Killing Floor 2, and there's actually it's just multiple waves of zombies, like single map kind of game. Well, there's multiple maps, but you go into one, you do wave 1 to 30, however long you can survive or whatever level 50, 60, however far you can go. And each map does have 10 collectibles. But you can load into a map, like there's only something like 20 maps. So you're going to be going into each map anyways, and you're going to be playing it multiple times. And it's just a matter of like in this small map, there's 10 snow globes. So if you want that achievement, like me and Adam actually find it very exciting to do this whenever they launch a new map and we're playing. We go in, the first thing I'm doing, I'm not even fighting the zombies. I'm like, screw you guys. And I'm like looking for snow globes. But it's not something that's missable and you can hop in and you don't need a guide. It's actually fun to try and find them because they'll put snow globes hanging off a zombie's head on the ceiling. And it's like, oh, that's a funny hiding spot. It's more like a hide and seek thing. It's enjoyable to find those ones.
Yeah, not to mention the maps are really small and like you're gonna be traversing the entire way anyway because you're gonna be like without thinking about it walking around the map just trying to avoid getting destroyed by these waves and waves of zombies that you'll just by happenstance come across a couple. And even if you're like a demolitionist, if you have explosives, you sometimes accidentally just get one because you had an explosion hit the vicinity of where that globe was.
Yeah, it's funny. You shoot off like one grenade or a grenade launcher, and all of a sudden 3 collectibles explode, and it's like, oh, you found 3 out of 10 of the collectibles. It's like, who did what? Like, where was it?
But I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think that makes sense in what you're saying, that you're in a small environment frequently, and that keeps it fresh and that there's something to do. But this might be a problem with single player games, is that I'm only in an environment once just to get this checkpoint, this story beat done. I'm not looking to hang out here, right? And so it just becomes a chore than
it is a chore.
Yeah, there needs to be a better way in games like that are much more linear to make if you're going to do collectible based achievements, they should be almost impossible to not find.
Yeah. And in Last of Us, they had like upgrade a weapon for the first time and stuff like that. I think those are fine because you don't need to search them out. And if you actually just played the game, chances are if you missed any of those, there'd be like maybe 1. So it's 2 minutes, you go in, you quickly upgrade the last weapon you'd kind of been ignoring. Boom, there's your trophy. It's not that 100%. Big of a deal. It really does come down to missable trophies where it's like, oh, talk to this person in chapter 2 as you're walking past them. And if you walk past that character, which you'd normally do anyways, and now that you've done it, you have to reload that chapter just to stand there and press triangle once. That's stupid. And then any of the collectibles where it's like something where it is a linear story and you're going to see a collectible and then pass it and never see it again, doesn't make sense. Like those do take you out of the story, and they're very story-driven games. Like you said with Battlefield 1 with like getting, get to level 5 in each class and stuff like that. That's another thing with killing floor. So maybe it's multiplayer games, it's a little bit easier. A bunch of the achievements are just like get level 5, level 10, level 15, level 20, and 25 in each of the classes. So you want to get everything? Like just try every character and actually max them out. If you don't do it, you don't do it. But at least as you are playing multiplayer and your characters hit level 5, you get an achievement. You actually feel like you did achieve something. You've been playing this game so long that you're now a level 10 demolitionist. You actually got that much experience while playing it that you earned that achievement. It makes sense with the actual gameplay. You want to get level 20, you have to keep getting better at this one character. So it's like, it does actually tie in to an achievement, kind of like having the gold trophy for beating the final boss in a game. You actually did achieve beating the game. Here's your trophy kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I think
go ahead.
So no, go ahead.
No, I was just going to summarize and wrap up.
Yeah, no, I'm good with that too.
Okay. I was just going to say, I think you hit the nail on the head when you kind of said, like, I think a game needs to recognize what it is when it's making its trophy lists. Are you a narrative-driven story game? And then your trophy should reflect that. And if you're a multiplayer game, then your trophy list should look different and would probably have more of that screwing about kind of stuff, like find stuff and do stupid things and do like break the game kind of, like not break the game, but just keep it fresh. And like, it's not just, hey, here's the same thing over and over. Here's some wacky side stuff that you can do. And then the single player should be more, hey, have you consumed the narrative of this game and experienced it and stuff? But I think, I think that was a good way of summarizing it. I was playing it and I'm like, man, this is really, you're one of two camps, like, and one is not getting the experience of the other.
Yeah. My issue is I fully agree with you on all this, and I'm probably still going to open the trophy guide on the next big PlayStation game and see how difficult it is. As long as it's not too difficult, even if it's like 3 hours of annoyance, like God of War Ragnarok with finding flowers, I'll probably still find the flowers. And it angers me. It angers me.
I'm going to get this platinum, and I'm bitching and complaining, but I'm going to get this platinum because it's The Last of Us. And I feel like it's always been a sore spot that I never had a Last of Us. I mean, I had the part 2, but I've never had Last of Us part 1 or whatever version. I've never had the Last of Us 1 trophy platinum, and that's something I need to rectify.
I'm just going to play a game, and then I'll beat the game, then it'll be done.
Loser.
You sold crap back to the crap seller. You're an achievement hunter now.
Whatever.
Speaking of selling crap, let's segue to the next part. We are in a new year. We got some new games coming out. There's a pretty sick list of games, and I thought, not all of them are going to be bangers. So,
But at
I
least
thought we'd
like
do a little
in terms of what we know, like the first quarter, even if you go as far as like April to May, we got some pretty good stuff, and it's not even everything that's announced yet, and we have really no idea what the second half of the year is going to look like. Like, at least from what I've found, I think the latest game that I can find that's like of a major deal is Final Fantasy 16, which is like end of June. I don't think we've really
Spider-Man.
seen much announced for like July
Spider-Man's
on.
announced for fall.
What is?
Spider-Man is announced for fall.
Well, not officially though. It's I mean like officially dated games.
Yeah,
it's officially announced for fall. They just didn't give us which.
That's what I mean. It's like we don't have an
it's-
official date for anything technically.
Okay, we're getting that technical then.
Yes, I am.
Right, fine. So I thought we could have fun and we can go through the list, and I'm going to call this the hit or shit list. We'll kind of go through some of the big games that we thought of, and let's say whether or not we think it's going to be a hit, whether it's going to be shit, or if it's going to be mediocre. So, I mean, not everyone is going to be one or the other. Some will just kind of be forget it and it'll move on. But I thought we can kind of go through and just quickly say whether we think this one's going to be a big game of 2023 or if it's going to be a letdown.
So let's go hit, shit, or meh. I like meh as being a good one for mediocre.
All right, cool. We'll do that.
Hit, shit, or meh.
It doesn't work with it doesn't have the same rhyming scheme, but we'll accept it. So the first one that we have on the list is Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order.
Jedi Fallen Order?
Jedi
You mean Jedi Survivor?
All right, Jedi Survivor. Thank you.
It's going to be a hit, and it's my most anticipated game of this year.
Yeah, it is.
I am so excited for that game that I could shit myself. That's how happy I am. Like, right now.
It's going to be a hit. I won't play it though because I played Fallen Order and wasn't too big a fan of it. But that was one of those games that I played, and as soon as I was like, this isn't for me, but I fucking get it. Like that was that kind of game that I went, okay, yeah, I can see why a lot of people like this game.
Yeah, I think this one's gonna be a hit as well. I think it has some things it needs to fix. The map was just a pure mess.
Yes. Yeah.
But they also have a bit of a situation of like, where do they go from here? Because like, you can't fight Vader, and we've already done that. Spoilers for Fallen Order, whatever. You've had a couple years. But
Time
like,
travel.
They've already had Vader
fight Maul.
I hate that. Please don't do that.
Like, I think there's some questions of like, where do they go with it? Like, where do they go with it? But I think you got to make it feel fresh, but you also don't want to make it too different. And I'm super excited for it, but I think it's gonna be a hit.
I think it's going to be a big hit, and I'm very excited.
And they've got a good launch window because I think it's like March, and I think it kind of has.
Yeah, it's March 17th.
Yeah,
St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah.
It's got a nice sandwiching. Like it's right after Skull and Bones, and it's right before the Resident Evil 4 remake. So it's like, hey, there's nothing going on, so here you come to save the day.
Wait,
just before everybody diverts their eyes when Resident Evil 4 comes back.
Shit.
I didn't even know Skull and Bones was on the list. I didn't even know that's coming out.
It's not. It's just a given. We didn't even.
Oh, there is a date for it. It's a matter of does it come out on that date, and if it even is it playable?
This is true.
Yeah. Next one we have is Hogwarts Legacy. Where do we fall on this one?
I'm hopeful. I really do want it to be good. I'm waiting for reviews, but like I hope it's going to be good. I'm going to say it's going to be a hit, somewhere in between hit and meh, because that's where it's going to likely fall. I doubt it's going to be shit. Like I doubt it's going to be like it launches and it's like a 4 out of 10, like buggy as hell, doesn't work, boring. I'm sure it's going to be interesting, but I don't know. I hope it's a hit. I just don't know if it. This one's tough for me.
I assume by hit we're referring to it being well reviewed, not well sold. Because it will be a hit if it comes to sales numbers.
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave it to your discretion, whatever you want to go, because I have a different way that I'm approaching it. It doesn't matter.
Okay. Well, it's going to sell well. I don't believe it's going to be a hit in terms of like reviews. I'm just, like I've said before many times on the show, I just have so many red flags for like the development history of it. I'm leaning to meh only because I think everything I've seen looks impressive, but it also looks like there might be too much going on. And with the idea of the development window that they've had, that I feel like there might have just been too many changes back and forth that I'm just sure it might be good. Like, I'm hoping it's much like Deathloop that I eat so much crow about it, but I have a pretty bad feeling that it's going to be meh, and it might even be shit. But I'm going to lean meh because I want it to be good.
Yeah, I'm leaning more towards that side with you. I think Hogwarts Legacy is going to be a miss. Just in the perspective for me, what I'm doing is hype level versus what we get. Like, is it going to be a letdown? And for me, Hogwarts Legacy is going to be a letdown. That game is just, it's so weird. Like, we are a month away from it getting reviewed, and it is just, I still don't even know what the hell the game's about. They keep showing different things, and like, I've seen trailers where it's like, what game is this? And they're like, oh, it's Harry Potter, but it's a Harry Potter game without Harry Potter. But it still kind of feels like Harry Potter because you're still in Hogwarts. Like, I don't know. I think it's gonna be weird. I don't really feel like it's gonna be, hasn't shown well. I think it's just going off the hype of a Harry Potter game, and we haven't had one. But I think once people get their hands on it, they're gonna be like, oh, this isn't what I was hoping for. So I'm gonna say shit.
Yeah, if we're going hype versus what we'll actually get, yeah, it's gonna be.
Oh, I'm just going with
lower.
that's just with how I'm using the score. Like, how excited are people versus what their hype versus reality. That's what I'm doing. We could totally do whether the game is going to be good or not. It's entirely however you want to do it. So that's my scale.
I like
Spider-Man 2.
That's going to be, I think that's going to be a hit, because I think it's just going to be the Spider-Man and Miles Morales game again, just new story, new open world, new collectibles. Like, that's, I think it's going to be a hit. I think if you like the other games, you will like this. You didn't like the other games? I mean, you're not going to be hyped for this. I think it's going to be much of the same, just more story.
Yeah, it'll be a hit. It'll just be compared to, does it hit as well as like the first one did? Because most people will probably lean to the first one as like the best story. So I think it's just gonna be a matter of, does it make a much more intriguing story that really gets you going? Obviously, involving the symbiote now is going to be making this a lot more, because everybody is big into Venom and Carnage and all that stuff. So that's peak Spider-Man for a lot of people. So now it's like, okay, can they take this and do what Spider-Man 3 couldn't do, which was actually make a Venom that we don't hate?
You don't like the dancing? You don't like the Venom that we got in Spider-Man 3?
I wouldn't have picked Eric Foreman as my first choice. I'm not sure I would have picked him in my first 100. So,
See, this to me is a layup. Like, this is a layup for Insomniac, and if they screw this up,
if this ends up being a miss, oh my god, this is going to be a huge blow.
You have Spider-Man in the sense that, like, you've got the combat nailed down, you've got the gameplay, you've got the traversal, you've got all that. Miles Morales was also great. You've got both of them there now, and you've got Venom, and I think Green Goblin's in this one too, right? Because you got Oswald in there.
Maybe.
Have we confirmed if Green Goblin's in there?
It's been a while. I can't remember.
Yeah, I can't remember either, but it would make sense story-wise. But
because I can see them going down a route where, because like I think they lined it up that, oh my god, the name's escaping me. Anyways, Harry. The Green Goblin, it's his son who, like, they were kind of saying like they're gonna use the symbiote to cure him. I can see him becoming the Green Goblin to kind of protect his son from Spider-Man, kind of thing. So you've got Venom and you've got like Green Goblin. The problem with the first Spider-Man is that you had too many villains who all were kind of half-assed there. Do you make a story that's focused on just these two villains? It's a slam dunk. So
yeah,
it's gonna be hard for them to screw it up. This is a hit waiting to happen, and it's them to screw it up.
Oh yeah. The only way they could screw this up is the video footage we saw of Venom is actually the after credits of this game. Venom's not in it. That is the teaser for Spider-Man 4.
Yeah.
Or Miles Morales 2. I don't know.
I just hope they get rid of like Screwball and the Taskmaster, because those guys sucked.
Oh yeah.
Well, you with a game like this, like, depending on how long they make the game, you're gonna have a few minor ones because they have to do something to fill out and create side quests and such. But I don't know.
Yeah, catching pigeons.
Yeah, there you go. More collectibles that we love.
Yeah.
I mean, at least the traversal makes it fun to go get them.
Yeah, like that's one of the ones where I didn't mind the trophies for sure.
Yeah,
because it was never like missing. Except that sucked. That did suck. Yeah.
What do you guys pay? What do you guys like pay the playtesters for? Like, does nobody do like market research or playtesting? Come on.
They were too busy. They were too busy listening to J. Jonah Jameson's podcast.
That was peak doing that, like doing J. Jonah Jameson that way.
Genius.
Like, chef's kiss.
Chef's kiss. So oh yeah.
All right, keep going because we got a long list to go through. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I'm not gonna say anything because I never played this and I don't care.
I mean, if you're gonna be a fan of 7, it's going to be a hit.
Yeah, I think again it's going to be just like Final Fantasy VII Remake Integrate or whatever it's called, and just more of that. So continuing story, but same game, same graphics, same. I assume mostly the same for everything.
The only way it's going to be a shit is if the story is so different that it actually hinders it. But considering what Remake has done, I think, and even showing with integrate with the side story with Yuffie, I think they've shown that they can take new stories and they can take old stories and they can make them go very well together and they can complement them and make you care. So I have all of the hopes and all of the confidence that they're going to do just fine. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of fanboys that are going to play Rebirth and be like, they ruined this. It used to be. It's always going to be that way. But I like the fact that, as I've said before on the show, that it's different, that I don't know what's going to happen. So I'm not just playing a remake of a game that I've already played and I'm just getting the same story and new graphics. So this actually is something that I'm like, this is my most excited game. Actually, that's a lie. It's my second most excited game, which we might get to later. But it's definitely at a point where the only way it's going to go badly is if the story is like Kingdom Hearts level of convoluted, dumb bullshit. And even Final Fantasy doesn't go that far, so I think we're safe.
I think we'll be safe.
Cool. Final Fantasy 16.
I think it's going to be a hit. I don't know if it's going to be a hit for me, though. That's my concern still. I'm waiting for reviews on that, but that's less because I think the game will be bad and more because my relationship with Square Enix and Final Fantasy has been shattered for so long that new games don't interest me anymore. So I need to know why this game is amazing first. I have a feeling that it's going to be amazing because I'm pretty sure with everything that I've seen that they're going to make the kind of game that they intend to make and do it well. And I haven't heard about, potentially development kind of getting changed at the last minute like 15's was, because it wasn't like 3 different titles before it became 16. So I think this one's had a much better development cycle, and I think there won't be nearly as many problems.
Yeah. I think that as long as this one is better than 15, it will be a hit. That's all it has to do.
I'd say that either this is going to reinstill confidence in fans or it's going to kill the franchise, but I thought the franchise was dead years ago and it's still kicking, so I guess I don't know anything. Maybe they'd make another Chrono game in the meantime, but can't do that either.
It'll become a remake franchise. They'll just remake they have 15 other ones.
I mean, we've honestly heard that there's projects potentially happening like a 9 or an 8 remake, so who knows?
Yeah. It's like a Golden Gate Bridge painting scenario. By the time they finish this series, it's time to go back to the start and start remaking it again.
I mean, look, the old ones are better, so I'm okay with that.
That is true.
Next one, this one could be one that we're going to get some flack for. Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Is this going to be a hit or a miss?
IGN's going to give it a 10. What's the point?
Yeah,
it's got a time sticker on it.
Yeah. I think it'll be a hit. I think if you like Breath of the Wild, it's just going to be Breath of the Wild 2. I don't think it's going to do anything different for the most part. Like
apart from being in the sky.
Yeah, fine. It'll be in the sky, and you'll jump and you'll land on a thing and you'll be in the sky. But I think that's the only difference from the game from 2017. Will that bother some people? Yes. Will some people be like, that's okay, I just wanted more of the first game anyways? So, I don't know. It depends, I guess, on what you're hoping out of it. I think the game will run great. It'll be great. The story will be great. But I think everybody's going to have differing opinions on what they were hoping for it anyway. So,
yeah, I'm going to put this game as a meh, in the sense it's not going to light the world on fire like Breath of the Wild did. I think the problem is, and I'm not a big Breath of the Wild fan. I think one of our first episodes I said like that game is highly overrated. Especially like how much are you going to be able to freshen up Breath of the Wild? Because the map I think is going to be pretty similar. Like they can't make a whole different Hyrule, so it's just going to be probably underground and above ground levels, and the world is kind of empty, and like you don't have more power in a new console, so it's going to feel a lot like Breath of the Wild. I just worry that one's going to kind of be a little bit stagnant in terms of how much can you add to that game.
Yeah, I think
with it
much like Hogwarts Legacy, I think it's going to sell just fine. Like the difference is like the reviews are going to tell a tale, and it's really going to tell you if Nintendo is truly as well protected as it is, because this will be the game that determines that, because you will see if Breath of the Wild 2 is essentially a copy paste with a few additions, fans are going to fucking let you know. YouTubers are going to fucking let you know. And then all the review sites are going to be 9s and 10s across the board, and everybody's going to be looking at that being like, that's not what it is. So I think that out of all the games this year, that has the potential to be the most controversial one in terms of like the back and forth you'll see online, if it's what we think it is, for all we know, it might just end up being the masterpiece that everybody is hoping it'll be, and whatever. It'll be another Nintendo game that everybody put up on the pedestal for another, 15 years. But I think the potential here with it being, like you said, a game that's reusing a lot of assets, there is definitely potential for this game to feel very samey, and a lot of open potential for people to start really picking the game apart.
Well, and that's exactly what I was just going to say. Like, it is a situation where if it feels samey to a game that was released in 2017, like, so if your game feels like a game from 6 years ago.
And you know that there are a lot of people right now after the new Pokemon game that are ready to rip apart Nintendo if something doesn't look good either. So,
Oh yeah.
Well, I think it'll look good. It'll be fine for the art style.
Well, I mean, in terms of like if it's just literally a lot of copy and pasting and there's nothing really all that different about it, you know that people are going to be posting all of these videos and how they've done no work.
Well, it's hard because you have a situation where you don't have any new hardware, so you don't have anything from a hardware perspective where you can be like, oh wow, this looks amazing, and so it's going to look like it's a 2017 game on a 6-7 year old console. Especially now we've had things like Elden Ring, right? Like Elden Ring, I think has kind of moved the needle a little bit in terms of what we can do. That I think if it feels like Breath of the Wild, some people are going to be happy, but it's not going to be. It's not going to have the excitement and the fanfare that Breath of the Wild enjoyed.
Yeah, it's not like it's the only game that would do this too. Like Yakuza's done that forever. It's always been like the same place in Kamurocho for a long time. Or Dynasty Warriors games are very much the same thing. But those have been consistently like that across the board. This is really the first time that a major franchise like Zelda is doing this twice in a row. So I think because was there any Zelda games apart from like say Dynasty Warrior level games in between Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, or is this like
they had
oh no, the Link's Awakening.
Yeah, that's a remake.
Yeah,
of the, like,
so
Game Boy
technically,
game.
in terms of new entries, it's straight from one Breath of the Wild to the next.
Yeah,
and like that's not to say it hasn't been done before, but like because if you think of A Link to the Past, is it Link to Ocarina of Time to Majora's Mask? Like, there's a lot of asset flipping in that. Like that was a rushed game, and they used a lot of the same assets.
Those games were definitely completely different from each other.
Different, right?
Yeah, it was different area, different everything, different mechanics.
Yeah, so you use same assets but made a whole different game. I don't see that with Tears of the Kingdom.
No, I think it'll be just there in the sky.
And it might end up just still being perfectly fine to most, but who knows? But we won't really know until, assuming it comes out in May like it's supposed to, when we actually hear about that. And I think it'll be perfectly fine. It's just a matter of, is it going to be the 10 out of 10 masterpiece that we usually come to expect from Mario and Zelda games every time they come out? Or is this going to be an 8 of people being like, look, it's still good, but really this was a game that could have been released like years ago and would have been fine.
Yeah. Next one, Forspoken. I think this is the next one that's coming out.
I've already played the demo, so I got my thoughts. It's shit.
I was gonna say meh, but if you've played the demo, it's probably shit.
If anybody hasn't yet, play the demo and tell me that is not the dumbest controlled game I've ever played. Like, it is so badly controlled. I feel like I was playing a PS2 game.
Well, seeing as I haven't played it either, we're going to defer to Adam, and we'll call it shit.
Well, I mean,
sorry for
you don't have to go off of my demo experience. You can just go off what you've seen.
I mean, if I'm going off what I've seen, it's going to be meh. I feel like that's meh.
Like, like across the board, it would have been meh, but because I tried the demo, it went from meh to, oh god, I'm not touching this game at all.
Next one, Dead Space remake.
I think this will be a hit. I think if you're a Dead Space horror fan, then probably I think it'll hit kind of like the Resident Evil remakes maybe would hit. Maybe not as much because I think that player base and fan base is a little bit bigger. But this is also hard for me because I'm not much, like I haven't played the original one much. I tried it. I'm a scaredy cat when it comes to horror games, so I've kind of looked at it, played it. I was like, this is a cool game. Okay, but I'm out though, and just like walked away and never saw it again. So I think it'll be a hit. I don't think it's going to blow the world up or anything like that. I don't think it's going to be like this is a game changer for the franchise or anything like that. I think it's just going to be a good game that looks nicer than the last one, and then a bunch of people who never got a chance to play the first one are now going to play the new one and like it.
Yeah, I think this one's going to be a hit in the sense that there's people like me and you, Chris, who've never played it, and I think we're gonna kind of be like, oh wow, this is an awesome game because I've heard the story is incredible. And then the people who love Dead Space, I think, as long as they don't screw up, you know, the gameplay or anything, like they'll be like, yeah, this is awesome. And I think a lot of people are gonna be really happy, especially coming off of Callisto Protocol being sort of meh.
That's what I was gonna say too. I think
Yeah.
it's a hit just because from what I've seen, it looks like it's gonna be a little more polished, and Callisto Protocol did not go over nearly as well. So
Yeah.
it's already got a bar to just easily walk over.
Yeah, just walk over that and it's a hit.
Yeah, just sidestep it, right?
Just
And
sidestep
again,
it.
like it's the kind of game that works very well with streaming culture. So like it's going to go over very well anyway in terms of exposure, because a lot of people are going to be playing that for the scare streams. So
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
One that's a little bit obscure that I threw on there, Atomic Heart. If you guys have seen this, I don't know, Adam, if you want to quickly throw gameplay.
I haven't
this kind of
seen
looks
too
like
much about it. I'm more leaning to meh, but that's just because I don't know if it's done anything unique enough that it might stand out.
See, I'm gonna have this as a hit because I think that's the problem, is that we don't talk about it a lot, and I think it's got low expectations. People don't really know much about it, and I think it's gonna come out and people are gonna play it. Like from the gameplay, it looks like a Soviet era futuristic first person shooter, like a Doom or a Wolfenstein meets Dishonored, and that looks dope as hell.
Yeah,
I
I
couldn't even
think
remember which
that's
one this
definitely
was,
the
but-
potential of it being that it flies under the radar and catches people off guard. It's coming out in a time too that's going to be relatively dead too, because like around that is like Hogwarts Legacy, Horizon Call of the Mountain, but that's VR, Octopath Traveler 2. So it's got its nice little own like spot for its genre that it could really turn some heads when it's a bit of a quieter time for it. So there's definitely an opportunity for it to really catch some eyes, especially if it is as good as it is and the right people amplify that. That's going to go very over very well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Chris, where do you fall?
I think I'm more with you, Kaylan, where it's like it's gonna come in because it has very low expectations. It's probably gonna be just a solid first person shooter. That is it like it's the best one out there, anything like that? No. Is it just like a good solid one that's kind of fun? I think it'll be a hit.
Yeah. I'm just like watching it, and like the weaponry and like the way of doing combat is just so interesting. This is one of those where it's like I'm really excited for this because it does look fresh and new. It has like a BioShock kind of feel to it. Like I'm really excited to see what this game actually turns out to be. Please don't suck.
Please don't suck.
Resident Evil remake.
It's hard to see that not be a hit.
Yeah.
Considering how 2 and 3 have done very well, and 4 is like a favorite among a lot of people, I can't see that not being a hit, honestly.
Yeah, same. I think it'll do just as well as 2 and 3 did, because I think it's kind of just more of the same of that. And Resident Evil fans, that's what they want, and that's kind of their way to get their third person.
And
Resident
also, there's
Evil
a good
games
chance
out.
that they make Ashley not nearly as dumb as shit as an AI, that the game might actually be better for it.
Or they'll make her worse, and that would be fantastic. 10 out of 10 game.
That'll be all the achievements, just having to do only with Ashley. There you go. Have fun with that.
This is one I've never played, but like I think it's gonna do well. I think this is like the game that people like pretty well in terms of like the original is held in high regard. So I think having the remake, I think it's set to be a hit.
Yeah.
And they've proven themselves with the other two. So it's not like a situation where like it's a situation similar to Final Fantasy. If they've already done it, they've proven that they can do it.
Yeah, it's not like it's an unknown.
Yeah, it's not an unknown.
We've
situation.
seen what the work looks like.
Yeah.
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 Another one I threw up here because I'm excited for it. Crime Boss Rocky City. This is that first person GTA game. I'm gonna call this a hit. Hit to meh.
I'm gonna lean to meh just because I feel like it's gonna like everybody's gonna go in thinking it's gonna be like GTA, and then they're gonna come to it and be like, it's all right.
I think I'm in between the hit and meh. To me, I think it'll be a hit because I think it looks fantastic. I don't think it's going to be as popular as something like the Resident Evil 4 remake and stuff is, because it's not as a well-known franchise. I think it's going to be great. I think it's going to be hilarious. I think it's going to be fun, and as long as it's not buggy or anything like that, I think it'll do really well, and I think it'll be a hit. I just think it might go a little under the radar for some people because they just don't know what it is.
Yeah, it's very similar to what Atomic Heart might be.
I think the fact that they've got so like it can go one of two ways, and like you guys are kind of bringing me down a little bit. So I'm thinking that it might go a bit meh. But like, you've got so many big, funny names that it could either be, hey, this is absolutely hilarious and so tongue in cheek, or this is cringy as hell and kind of has like a Saints Row kind of like the new one kind of feel where it's like, oh, doesn't really land with the audience. But I'm excited. I'm hopeful, but I could see this, just being kind of a fart in the wind and just kind of it dissipates and goes nowhere.
Yeah, I'm hoping it's a hit. For me, I think it'll be a hit, and I'll eventually play it.
Yeah,
for
I
sure.
want that to be a very good game because I want more in that field. So it's not because now that Saints Row came out to a bunch of absolute meh. I really need something else to kind of be next to GTA. To be like, okay, we got that, but there's also this as well on the side if you're bored with GTA.
Well, hey, if the next 10 years of waiting for GTA 6 is too much for you, like this could be a nice little middle ground to kind of satiate you while you wait for GTA.
Unless
5.
this game does so well that they re-release it 3 times as well.
Why not? It seems to work well for GTA.
Yeah, it does.
Suicide Squad.
After Gotham Knights, I'm gonna give them a meh at best, but I'm not confident after. I mean, I know it's Rocksteady, so it should be decent, but I don't know. Like everything I've gotten from those trailers makes me think like I don't think this is gonna work.
Well, I think you got. Go ahead, Chris.
I was just gonna say, I don't think that the characters are as interesting right now. I think people love like Harley Quinn in the the movies when it's Margot Robbie, but I don't think like as a character herself with the other few Suicide Squad people, like a lot of people are excited to play an entire Batman game as them instead of someone like Batman or something.
And yeah, there's also definitely going to be like a somber bit to that game too because it is Kevin Conroy's last.
I think that might be one of the things that actually does help the sales because people are going to want to get his last.
Well, yeah, that's what we figure. A lot of people thought that the trailer came out for. It probably wasn't supposed to be told, but because he passed, they figure, well, this is our way to show that he's here and we're going to honor it.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. But I think I don't know. Like for me, I'd rather just be playing as Batman. Like I don't know if I want to play a 4-player Suicide Squad game. It could be fun if I had 3 people that I'm going to play with and we always play the like co-op if it is 4-player. I'm sure that part is fun, but as a single player experience, I don't think I even want to bother with it.
Yeah, I think the hope is like that it's akin more to like Guardians where like it's good, but like the story's at least fun enough to keep you engaged. I think that's kind of like what I'm hoping for at best. I don't think this is going to be like the levels of like Arkham Knight and Arkham City for sure.
Yeah.
I think you guys kind of hit a lot of the hurdles it has to overcome. I think the characters aren't as compelling as like Batman would be. I think the 4-player co-op just reeks of like that live service kind of thing, which has not been doing well for the superhero game. And then it also raises the question, and I haven't followed this too much, so I don't know. But like, you have a thing: are they gonna let them kill the Justice League, or is this gonna be some like, oh, it was all a dream?
I was about to say.
These aren't the real Justice League.
They're gonna pull the Metal Gear Solid 2. It was all a simulation.
Exactly. Like.
Yeah, I don't think. No, go ahead, sir.
No, I was gonna say like you can't go around killing those superheroes
unless you just do what every superhero or what every comic franchise ever does. It was an alternate universe.
The end of the game, it zooms out and they're like, that's how the simulation looks if they tried to kill you guys.
It's like the Clue. It's like the Clue ending. This is how it could have happened.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that game has a lot of hurdles, so I'm gonna put it as base, and also the things that we've seen with the what the heck is the other one? I'm gonna call it the Court of Owls because I forget what it actually is called. That one and Avengers, like there's just not a lot, especially for that like multiplayer sort of live service game. I think this game's gonna be a mess.
Yeah, for sure.
Diablo 4.
It will be a hit, but it might not work on launch date.
He's got a point. I think this is going to be a hit just because Diablo 3 took a big change from like Diablo 2 and stuff. It went more like a World of Warcraft marketplace live service-ish kind of game. Whereas Diablo 4, they've purposely tried to go back to like the Diablo 2 style, make it darker, make it more horror-like, remove all of the extra like pay to get this and pay to get that, pay to get this. It'll still be in there, but it's not as like in your face as the third game would be. I think because they're going back to what it was, they will get back at least people willing to try again and play Diablo like it used to be with Diablo like 1 and 2. As a like I'm a like not a huge Diablo fan, but I've played all of them. I have a couple friends that we would play like online together and go through the game and stuff, and I can tell that all of them, they are very excited for Diablo 4 because of how it appears to be compared to Diablo 3. So I think if the reviews come out and it did follow through, and it is a lot more faithful to the older Diablo kind of style versus 3, I think they'll do better at launch than Diablo 3 did at launch because of kind of as that. So I think it'll be a hit as long as they follow through with what it looks like they've kind of got going on.
Yeah, I mean, it's either going to be one of two things. It's either going to be a hit because, well, let's be honest, Blizzard has not been doing very well lately in terms of the public opinion. Granted, sales-wise, they're doing just fine because companies usually do that in spite of themselves. But, like, they need a big W. And Diablo is, like, one of the big ones that could elicit that W. So they're either throwing everything they got to make sure that this one does go well, or it's going to be peak Blizzard right now, and it's going to take so much flack. Now, it's still going to sell well because, again, it will sell in spite of itself, but there is going to be so much shit written about it in the same way that a lot of people were criticizing Overwatch 2 from the very beginning on how this did not need to exist because it was really Overwatch 1.5. If that.
Yeah.
Yeah, my thought is that the Blizzard that we have in 2023 is very different from the Blizzard that people remember.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think people are like, oh yeah, it's gonna be like Diablo 2, but it's like the Blizzard that made Diablo 2 is different from the Blizzard now, and I kind of think that people are hyping this up more than they think they will.
That's kind of where I don't think this is possible to be in meh territory. It's either going to be an absolute hit or an absolute dumpster fire. So
no, I think I was gonna say this is gonna be meh. This is gonna be the camp that's gonna say, yeah, this is exactly what I wanted. This is great. This is gonna be something I hate it, but like it's not gonna be one that people are gonna be like, oh man, if you don't like Diablo, this is the game that gets you in. Like, I think Diablo has its fans, and I think you either like Diablo and you're gonna play Diablo, or you're not. And I don't think this is gonna be one of those games that's gonna bring in new converts.
Oh yeah, I completely agree with that.
I'm not gonna be. I've never really played them, and I'm not interested at all. So it's not getting me to move in at all.
Diablo to me is kind of like in that same camp, and it's a bad example because like it's dead, but like it's kind of like almost like a Command and Conquer, Age of Empires RTS. Like you're either into it or you're not, and this is like you've already decided where you fall in this game, and it's not going to be one that's going to bring like no one's starting this for the first time. You're either in or you're not.
No, and I think like 97% of the people that are going to get it are like PC gamers because the first two were purely PC. The third one they made console friendly and stuff, which was great, but I think that the huge fans like they don't pick it up on console anyway. So I think it'll sell well on PC because they've got those devoted fans. And on console, it'll just kind of simmer off because they re-released Diablo 2 Resurrected Edition or whatever the hell it was. It's like an HD remake of Diablo 2. They put it on consoles and everything like that, but they released it at $70. And it's just an HD remaster of a 90s PC game that it does look more pretty, but it looks like a maybe $30 game or like $40. Say even just say 40. Like the fact that it came out so expensive and you'll see it 40% off and it's still $55 or something. It's like, what the hell? Like just go buy Diablo 2. It's $8 on Blizzard's launcher right now. Like just go get that.
Yeah. I'm with you. And if I remember correctly, I think like did they not lose like the source code or like the master copy or whatever of Diablo 2? And so the HD remake is literally just a skin on top of the old code.
Yeah, like they had to go get the old code, and just put like a skin on top of it or something. Yeah, that's the same.
I don't know all the terminology and stuff, but yeah, I remember reading about that. And yeah. Next, we're getting into some Xbox territory with some exclusives. Redfall.
I think it'll be meh. It might come out and be a nice surprise, but I think at this point it's been quiet on their side for a lot. That I think it's probably it might just skirt as okay.
And it's been delayed a lot too.
Yeah, if it's a hit, it's only because it's like one of the only Xbox exclusive releases that are really there. So people might play a lot of it. I think it'll be a hit on Game Pass. And that's it.
That's the only place it would be a hit.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's all it's going to be. I think a lot of people will play it on Game Pass because if you have Game Pass, it's free to play it. And then it will die off and won't sell anywhere else.
I can see it going one of two ways. So either it's going to come out in like June and die because nobody's going to care. Or, and if Microsoft is smart, this is what they're going to do. They're going to release this like September 20th, like just at the start of spooky season, and this game will be a hit. Like everyone's gonna be playing the spooky vampire game over Halloween. It's gonna be like streamed a lot. It'll be a huge hit, or they're gonna send it out to die in the middle of July.
Yeah, 100%. If they release that in like the October time and it's September, it'll be a hit for at least a couple months. They'll have that guaranteed time. Yeah. July, no one's gonna give a shit. Not one person, and they're just gonna be like, "Oh, cool, vampires. It's Left 4 Dead. No, Back 4 Blood. All right, cool. I don't care."
Yeah. Next big one. This one I think is gonna be controversial. Starfield.
That'll also be meh.
It's gonna be fantastic because I don't think there's 1,000 planets.
Yeah, I don't think it's possible for that kind of game to be a hit. I mean, it might go over well with fans because it's not going to be Fallout 76, but no, I don't see, like, it's either going to be meh or it's going to be another dumpster fire from Bethesda, and I kind of look. I don't usually wish for games to go horribly, but I kind of want this one to do so because I want to see now people say, "See, it's not just Fallout."
For me, this one is going to be a miss. And my thought is, once again, this is that situation of hype versus what they get. And people are like, "Oh man, this is the second this is Skyrim in space." Skyrim was I mean, I have my opinions, but I played it too late to the game. But I know how significant Skyrim is. I think there's a lot of problems with Starfield in the sense of Bethesda is not the same Bethesda that made Skyrim. It's not the same one that made Fallout 3. Like, if you look at the games that they've released in the last back-to-back series, like, they've not been stellar. Like, Skyrim was great, and then they came out with Fallout 4, which was like, it was okay, but it wasn't great. They came out with Fallout 76, once again, not great. So, like, they don't have a good recent track record. And, like, I hear warning bells in terms of, like, it looks very similar to what's the, like, is it Outer Worlds, Outer Wilds?
Yeah, Outer Worlds.
I get it mixed up. But, like, it's that situation of, like, hey, you go around shooting, and then you have a conversation with a face who's just standing there and looks dead-eyed. And you'll have a couple options for dialogue, but it looks it doesn't look like there's a lot of role-playing to this game. The other thing is it looks like it's going to be a mile wide and an inch deep. Like, you're going to have 1,000 planets to visit, and you can go around the whole... That's going to be boring as hell, dude. Like, you're not...
Chris, you played Mass Effect 1. You know what that looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, that's my thought. Is like, you're going to have this vast emptiness where, sure, I could go explore, but there's nothing for me to do other than to go find some collectibles for some stupid achievement that I have to do to get the 100% game or 1,000 gamer point score or whatever.
Yeah.
So I think this one is going to be a letdown.
Go ahead, Adam. Go ahead.
I don't see, like, I personally don't see a scenario that this ends up being like a Game of the Year candidate. I can't see it. I could be wrong, but I cannot see it with the style of game that this is. It is just set up to be a game with a lot of mediocre elements to it.
Yeah. I think it's going to be a meh as well. I think that everybody is hyped for it because it's like, oh, it's like Elder Scrolls 6 in space or something. And the thing is that when you play something like Skyrim, the reason that one works so well is because it was just like one map. Like, you can go to the top of a mountain, look down, and you can see everywhere you can technically really go. And there's forests and all this like pretty stuff. And then as you're going through a forest, maybe you'll find a little like entryway into a little like cave or a little like dungeon. You can do it, come out, and then continue. But it's not like this. You never felt like overwhelmed, like, oh, this map and everything is way too big. It was just big enough that even if it got any bigger, it probably would have felt too overwhelming. If you did a quest in Skyrim, you'd talk to some lady in a village. She'd be like, hey, my husband was murdered by a bunch of wolves or whatever, I don't know, over there. And you would be able to just walk or run to where that happened near that village. If you do that in this game and it's like you talk to someone, it's like, hey, someone on one of these 3 planets did this and I want to go get them. So instead of just like walking to the forest cool area behind that village, which you can kind of do cool stuff with, you have to go find your ship, fly up to a completely different planet, then go land on that planet, and then finally start the side quest. It's going to be annoying, I think, as hell to even just get started. I think that people won't have that sense of immersion because there'll be just too much travel and stuff in the middle of it that kind of just kills it.
Yeah,
It would
a lot
only
of dead
work
time.
like a lot of dead time. And again, that's with if every planet was interesting. But if they've got 1,000 planets, you're going to get to one. It's like, oh, it's the desert planet. The whole thing's a desert. Like, oh, look,
You
it's
know
the
there's going to
water
be like the
planet.
ones that you go, oh, they took care of this one, and oh, they just quickly put that one together just to have it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, oh, here's
That's
the
the
blue
one.
planet. Everything's blue. Oh, this is the same one, but now this one's red. Such a different planet.
That's the one you go to just to get the resources for, and
Yeah.
And
I
like,
think the one thing that might save it is that one, it's on Game Pass, so like a lot of people are going to play it because it's there.
Yeah.
And two, this is really the flagship of Microsoft's exclusive. So you're going to have the hardcore, and I'm not saying this director because I'm a huge Sony pony, but like you're going to have the hardcore Xbox kind of going through and be like, this game is amazing, like suck it, Sony, like this is the PlayStation killer, just because that's all Xbox has. And like PlayStation fanboys did the same thing when we had just like Uncharted, and we're like, his pants get wet when he goes in the water, like suck it, Halo. So
the immersion.
The immersion. It's like I'm there. So I could see like there's gonna be a vocal group who's gonna be like, this is the best, but I think generally it's gonna be
I think a lot of people are gonna play it. It's on Game Pass. I'm gonna try it. I know I'm gonna try it. And I think they're gonna Microsoft to put out the stats like over 31 million people played. And it's like, yeah, but how many people played for more than 2 hours?
Do that number again in 7 days.
Yeah. So I think it'll be like that. Big hype, die off very quickly. Not very interesting.
We've got 2 more, and I just want to confirm if this one is coming out. So I'll go to the other one on the list. Assassin's Creed Mirage, going back to the old, more I'm not gonna say linear, but the linear stealth version of Assassin's Creed. Is this gonna be a hit, miss, or meh?
Well, it's not officially dated yet, but it's kind of like rumored to come out in 2023. So
they did 2023.
Yeah, they did say,
yeah.
This one's tough because Assassin's Creed went like this huge open world, not even Assassins games. Like the last 2 games have starred 2 non-Assassins. The Assassins are in the game, but you're not even one of them. And they were so big. And so I got the platinum in Valhalla, and that's like one of those ones where it's like, why did I do this to myself?
Okay, Adam, next episode it is just going to be the intervention of Chris and his choice of platinum in games. Like, really, Valhalla? Like, no wonder you have a backlog. That game's a career.
Yeah, it was like 120 hours to platinum or something. And then they came out with all the extra stuff and added a lot more trophies, and I was like, no, I'm done. Screw you. I have my platinum, I'm done. But like the game was too much. It's too big. A lot of the stuff is boring. And the stuff that made like Assassin's Creed 1 and 2 and even 3 and stuff, it was like, yes, as it was open world, but it was like I platinumed Assassin's Creed 2. It didn't take that long. It wasn't that bad. The only thing that was annoying was collect all the feathers on the one map. Those stupid feathers. And it was, again, the collectible issue. But for the rest of it, it wasn't that bad. So if this one is able to be like less open world and like it'll still be open world, but like a lot more contained.
Yeah, I want to see the size of the map. That's my big thing.
Yeah. If it's the same size-ish as like Assassin's Creed 2 or 3 or Revelations or whatever the hell was going on in that area of Assassin's Creed, I think they will get more players in than they currently were having with like Valhalla and stuff.
I'm currently in mess status until they prove me otherwise, because that's what Assassin's Creed has consistently been for the last, I don't know, like 5 games.
I think this one might be a hit. And I think like kind of what Chris was talking about, like if they go back to form, if they go back to what made the series amazing, I think that would be it. Like a small contained environment that for the most part you could generally like, because Assassin's Creed 1 was 3 cities, and you could generally like start getting a pattern of like, hey, I know where I am in relation to the map. Same with the like Ezio games. Like for the most part, you knew generally where you were and could navigate. I think if they had a small contained city, contained story that goes back to that stealth assassin aspect, like I think that would be really cool. I think that's what fans want. I think we're kind of tired of the the convoluted story of like the ancients and all that crap. Like it's gotten convoluted, and I think, and they could screw this up so badly if they do. But I think if they just go like, hey, we're just going to do Basim. We're going to forget the whole Animus crap. You're just Basim in, like, I think it's Babylon. Go be an assassin. And I think that would just, that's what, like, original sort of OG fans of Assassin's Creed want. I think there's going to be some people who are going to be disappointed that it's not that open world RPG element, but I think a lot of fans really want the old Assassin's Creed game back. And I think if they really are true to that, I think it could do really well.
Yeah, that's how I feel too.
So I did confirm the last one. It does have a 2023 release date, but no confirmed date. Just announced at the Game Awards, Armored Core 6. Is this going to be a hit, miss, or meh?
I think it'll be a hit with those who love that series, but like I don't think it's going to be like a game that everybody like parades about, because Armored Core never really has been.
Yeah, if you go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to kind of agree with Adam. Like, if you're an Armored Core fan, I bet this is going to be an amazing Armored Core game. And if there's really great reviews and stuff, I'm sure there'll be some people that are like, oh, maybe I should try this series. Like, I'm kind of there because I've never played it before, and I'd be willing to like kind of give this one a go.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat too.
Yeah, especially if it showed up on Game Pass or PlayStation Plus Extra or whatever, heck yeah, I'd install it right away and give it a go. But I'm not going to buy it on launch and get like all excited for it or anything like that.
Yeah, it's much like Elden Ring right now, where I'm waiting for it to go low enough that I'm willing to try it, unless it's on a service suddenly. But I don't think Elden Ring would be. So like with Armored Core, it's similar boat of like, hey, if it's ever a good price, I'll take a crack at it because I've heard lots of good things. One of my friends that I play Destiny with, he was so absolutely over the moon fucking hyped when that got announced. So like there is a core base of players that are so stoked to see the series back, and I get the feeling that they'll take really good care of it too. So like I think it'll go well with those people. It's a matter of, can it get new players in? That's going to be the big one. I think the name alone with From Software is the best chance that they have to really bring people in. It's a matter of, does that game now keep them there?
I think this one's going to be a hit. I think coming off of the hype of Elden Ring, you have a lot of people who are playing FromSoft games for the first time, myself included. I've never played an Armored Core game, but it like giant mechs fighting, it's something that we don't have a lot of anymore in video games. So I think there's hunger for a mech fighting game. Armored Core is a known property that people have heard of, but maybe haven't had a chance to play. Because I think the last one was like what? PS3, PS2 era? I don't really know.
I think it's been a long time.
It's been a while. So like you've got hardcore fans who want it, people who've wanted to try it who haven't had a chance to try it, and coming off of the success and proven ability of Elden Ring, I think people are like, yeah, this is I'm gonna give this a shot. I'm not saying people are gonna buy it day one or anything, but I think this is one that a lot of people are gonna be excited for, and there's gonna be a lot of talk of, did you play Armored Core? What are your thoughts? Blah blah blah. So I'm
10 years, by the way, 2012 for the 360 and PS3.
There we go.
So that's I didn't realize that this new one was FromSoft.
Neither did I. As soon as they realized, I'm like, oh god, how have I not known that? But then again,
and
like,
as soon as you said that, I got excited. Like I haven't even played Elden Ring, but I think that you're very correct in that, because that even just increased my hype by like 20%.
Yeah, like how many people at the Game Awards knew of even Armored Core being a series at all, and how many of them now are suddenly interested in it just because of From Software's name being attached to it?
There's a lot of Venn diagrams that are all.
They could have just named the game Armored Core, and no one would have known the difference that it's a series that's been around for a long time.
Yeah,
I don't know. I feel like Armored Core is one of those ones, especially if you like we're in the PlayStation era, PlayStation ecosystem. I think Armored Core is not the biggest.
If you're in the know, you know. But if you're not, like, it's definitely a series that, unless you were paying attention to the shelves at EB Games when you were looking through it, like for the 9th time trying to find the one used game you're gonna buy, you didn't always catch it.
Fake ass gamers.
Fake ass
gamers.
No, I'm just kidding. Know your history.
Know your history. Yeah. So that's it. I think that's a pretty good list. I think I'm going to be interested to see. We'll have to come back to this episode at the end of the year and see where we fall and how many of these games got delayed.
Yeah, how many of them actually came out?
I was going to say, not even like how many of these games were hits, how many of them even came out.
Redfall gets delayed to 2024. It's coming out eventually, we promise.
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
Yeah. I could see Armored Core slipping to 2024.
Is there anything that we have not said that anybody's really excited for, though?
No, I'm only a AAA gamer, so whatever.
There's only one more I'm kind of excited about, and I don't know if it's... So, Forza Motorsport, I think, is coming out this year. And I'm not like overly excited. Like if it wasn't going to be releasing on Game Pass, I'd actually go and buy it. It's just my game of the year from 2021, so going way back, was Forza Horizon 5. I love the Forza Horizon series. And I know this isn't that. This is just like the more realistic races of the same franchise, more of like a Gran Turismo kind of thing. But I kind of feel like driving a car and racing, and because it'll be on Game Pass, I'm excited for that because I don't know, it's a franchise I like. But again, it's not like it's in my most anticipated. It's just another one that I can think of coming out this year that it's like, I'd like to play that.
Yeah, it's something that if it shows up on Game Pass, you'll download it, put a few hours into it, mess around with it kind of deal.
Yeah, and who knows, I might actually love it and drop like 25, 30 hours total into it. Much like I would probably if I ever did grab Gran Turismo on PS5 and just kind of enjoy hopping in 2 hours a day, every day for a while, just doing a few races.
Yeah, because like for me, in terms of games that are actually dated, there's only one. Like there's The Legend of Heroes Trails into Reverie, which is coming out in July, which is the new series after Trails of Cold Steel has now ended. And me as a JRPG guy, I'm like super into that. Aside from that, like games that aren't announced yet, like I know Chris, Coffee Talk episode 2 is supposedly coming out this year.
Yep.
So that's one. And I know all three of us are going to be interested if it comes out this year, the Telltale Expanse game.
Oh, yeah, right. I did forget about that.
Like there's actually a lot of things. Like when I went through my master list, like for me, Destiny 2's new expansion comes out 2 days after my birthday at the end of February, so I'm cool for that. Metal Slug Tactics has still not been dated yet, and that was a big one a couple of years ago at was it? I don't know. No, it was Summer Game Fest. I don't think it was Game Awards. I know that Yakuza like meets the Samurai era game, Like a Dragon Ishin, is coming out next month. There's also that other one that we saw. Was it Rise of the Ronin, I think?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like there was that.
Yeah, but I don't know if that one has a release date yet.
No, I don't think, like a lot of them don't. Like I said, like from April on, there's a lot, but like there's a lot of areas where we don't know a lot still.
That one is showing, I'm just doing a quick Google search, and that one is coming up as 2024.
Mm-hmm. Because otherwise, like I said, Skull and Bones is supposedly coming out this year, so we'll get to see potentially that train wreck.
Yeah.
The Horizon Forbidden West DLC will be out in May, or no, April.
Oh, yeah, that'll be cool.
The one I'm excited for, before you get to it, I'm excited for the Cyberpunk 2077 DLC.
Yeah, that's true. I still gotta wait until I'm so close to getting it on the Steam sale, and I was like, no, I got too many games still. I can't get to that yet.
Pull the trigger. It's a great game.
Oh, get to it, jeez.
Play the PS5 version. I have it, and I need to justify the fact that I bought it, and I'm only 2 hours in.
You guys, this is back to the Breaking Bad conversation. You guys need to play these things. Like, no, you know what? I will not make I don't want to put Breaking Bad in Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk, I will not like justify as like it is the best game ever. It's just the perfect Kaylan game. Like I love Cyberpunk aesthetic. I like the gameplay. Like it works for me, but I'm not going to die on the hill of defending Cyberpunk.
Yeah, I mean, otherwise,
it's better than when it launched.
It's going to be JRPG heaven if a lot of certain games come out this year, because Suikoden 1 and 2 is supposed to be getting remasters out. There's also the crowdfunded Aiden Chronicles that's supposed to be like the old Suikoden games that might be coming out this year. Front Mission 2 is getting a remake, and Sea of Stars, which is a good-looking indie, like Chrono Trigger-esque looking JRPG
Sea of Stars, that's on my anticipated. If that comes out this year, that's probably a pickup automatically. I mean, if it's not $70 or something.
My eyes just glossed over as you guys started talking JRPGs.
Fine, I'll talk about some other dumb ones. Dune Spice Wars might be coming out this year.
Oh my god, Dune! I'm so excited for that one.
Obviously, with the new movie coming out, Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora, if we ever actually see what the fuck that game is, might even be this year.
There's an Avatar.
That's not coming out 2023.
I don't know, like that thing's been on a list for what sounds like forever.
You're just listing
games that have been announced. You might as well like put out Beyond Good and Evil.
All right, so Elder Scrolls 6.
Elder Scrolls 6 Beyond Good and Evil 2.
I mean, they haven't said it's not coming out in 2023.
That is true. They didn't tell us it's not coming out.
Apart from that, like,
you misread the assignment, Adam. It's 2023 game.
Fine, I'll talk about the last couple ones that have actual dates on it. Fire Emblem Engage is coming out in like 2 weeks.
If the reviews are good for that, I'm going to grab it. I'm definitely playing that. I need another like strategy RPG.
I know obviously JRPG fans are looking forward to Octopath Traveler, which is dated for February. Dead Island 2, if that holds, is finally coming out April 28th, which I have no expectations for because that game should have been out like years and years ago.
Yeah.
And then the last one that I have on my list is Street Fighter 6, which as long as the esports crowd is happy with it, it's going to do just fine.
It'll be fine.
Yeah.
It'll be fine.
But also more importantly, Elder Scrolls 6 coming out in 2020.
Spring 2023, how?
It's being released simultaneously with Starfield.
It's one of the planets.
Release.
Well, look, we've called it Elder Scrolls 6 in space enough times on the show that it might as well.
On a planet and it's just Skyrim. Like you crash land and you just wake up and like, oh shit, I just realized there's gonna be a DLC where you just crash on a planet and you wake up in the prisoner cart being carried over.
Oh, you're awake.
Yeah, like in terms of dating stuff, like we're not gonna really know a lot, especially after like the first half of the year. The second half is still like barren. It's so much potential, and I think as we said last episode, like 2023 has so much potential to be a super busy and super like intensely good year, given how many games have been pushed back long enough. This could be a great, like, we might look at the Game Awards like Game of the Year nominees this year and be like, how did this game not make it in? But look at the 6 they picked. Like, man, that was tough.
Yeah. If the Nintendo games hold up and Hogwarts holds up, I'm screwed. Because you get like Fire Emblem, and then a couple weeks later you get Hogwarts, and then a few weeks later you've got like Star Wars, and then a couple months after that you've got Legend of Zelda. Like, I'm not going to be able to.
Yeah, if you assume everything is like
everything.
8s and up, people are going to be busy the next few months.
Not have
what
bought
I'm hearing
games
is you guys aren't watching Breaking Bad, and that pisses me off.
Well, that sounds like a you problem. Go back and watch it for us.
Well, I would say like, hey, you guys got time now, but no, The Last of Us comes out in like 10 days. So
yeah,
which I'm not going to watch.
Oh god, Adam, I'm watching that. That's my like one and only most anticipated show of the year. Like that is, I will fight for that to be good. Even if it's bad, I will fight for it to be good. I don't know how.
I don't think you'll have to fight for it. I think it's going to do just fine.
Yeah, I think it's going to be good.
Yeah, HBO has a good track record, and honestly, I think Last of Us is one of those games that like there's like it's built to be a movie. Like I'm surprised they never, because like I remember seeing like other games, like they've got Halo novels, they've got Assassin's Creed novels. Like I'm surprised The Last of Us never got a novelization.
Yeah, you'd think that even like side stories of just other people and stuff. There's so much they could do in that world.
God of War, the 2018 God of War game has a novelization. How does The Last of Us not have one?
It's going to be interesting going forward because, like, another thing too with 2023 is that we're seeing so many more games get either shows or animated series or like outside things, and it's starting to wonder, like, is it going to be too much of a good thing, or is it going to be to the point that like so many bad versions of like our favorite things are being made now? It's going to be quite interesting to see in the next 12 months how we feel about, say, like HBO doing like shows, or like Amazon doing its own game show, or maybe this gets a movie, or this gets an anime, or this gets a cartoon series. Like, is there going to be a point where it gets overloaded again?
I think we're safe in the sense that there's still a rush of just putting your flag in the IP, and people aren't like being cognizant of like what they're putting their flags into. I think Last of Us is it, like I said, is a game that warrants a show, right? I think what they did with like Pokemon Detective was really clever. Like
Cyberpunk Edge Runners apparently was a fucking fantastically done show, and I still need to watch that.
I have to watch that. Yeah, I gotta watch it too.
But like I think a lot of studios are seeing that it can be successful, but I think a lot of them are rushing to do it. Like I haven't watched it, but I've heard like the Halo show was kind of a bit of a mess, and
I think it's going to be a bit of both, right? It's like in the same way that like as soon as something does really well once, everybody tries to jump on and get the same bandwagon going. And that's when you see a lot of like, remember how many Saturday morning cartoons were like Mortal Kombat had a fucking cartoon,
really, and
a TV. Oh, it had a cartoon, a TV series, 2 movies,
breakfast cereal. Like
watch the TV show. It's literally 2 minutes of dialogue and 20 minutes of fighting, and it's like not even good fighting. It's holy crap, you could have cut some of this footage, right? Like, the fights don't end. A guy goes through a table, and, like, as a wrestling fan, I'm like, oh, so they're done. Nope, gets right back up and they go again.
I'm having a hard time finding the Saturday morning cartoon of Mortal Kombat. Oh,
I do remember
think I found
the way it looked.
Mortal
yeah.
Kombat Defenders of the Realm. I found
Yes,
it.
that's it. That's the one.
It's not
I've only
great.
got a 1-minute clip.
Look, and because even now we already see it, like Mortal Kombat has now had a new movie. It's had an animated movie, I believe. It had the one Scorpion movie, I think. So like we're already in that section where like games are starting to get a little bit oversaturated with content again. So we'll see if we kind of get the same feeling as it used to be. But for now, we're still good. Like so far, like we haven't. It's not like the old days where anytime a game movie came out, we went, "Oh God, this is gonna suck." Now it's like, coin flip it.
Yeah, because it's weird. Because like League of Legends had that show Arcane come out on Netflix, and it's like, how the hell do you make a show about?
Oh no, was that the one that won the Game Awards?
Was it? I think it was.
I think the award-winning show Arcane Legends.
Yeah.
Show some respect to greatness.
No, I loved it. That's what I was gonna like.
No,
it was one of my.
You now have to refer to it as the award-winning.
Oh, the award-winning Netflix show. Oh, that sounds weird. Arcane. Was amazing. But I remember when I first heard of it, I'm like, how the hell do you make a show out of a League of Legends? Isn't it like a 5-on-5 MOBA? Like, that's what the hell are you gonna do?
To be fair, how the hell do you make a story out of Mortal Kombat? And they figured out a way to do it. So
they haven't figured it out yet.
Hey, the first movie, award-winning. I don't think so.
I was more referring to Mortal Kombat 9 when they rebooted and actually like pulled 3 games of story and actually made a decent one out of it.
Yeah. Well, it's because the old games, the story was some text when you first turned on the game, and then when you beat the game as a character, you got the
League
text.
of Legends. It was a blank canvas. Like you could do anything with that.
But watching Arcane, you don't need League of Legends the game. You like the characters have been used, but like everything else, it has nothing to do with the game. Which it was probably why it was really good. Like really, really good, award-winning.
Like I'm super excited for this year for that reason, and that there's going to be so many games that might be coming out that are amazing potentially, and also the fact that this is going to be the first real year where we get to see a boatload of side projects. And as a gamer, like that excites me because if everything if even like half of it hits, that's a lot of content. Yeah,
absolutely.
I'm stoked, and I'm sure I'll be talking about it more even next week, and then obviously as things carry forward, when we get more and more announcements, we'll see how it keeps turning out.
Yeah, that's the crazy part of 2023. Like, there is more things coming, and there will be more announcements where it's like, hey, here's this new Mario game coming out in September or something. Like, we don't know what else could happen through the rest of the year, and it's already packed. Like, I'm already booked for the year. My backlog and me, we're good, but something's going to happen.
Yeah, it's called the Steam Summer Sale.
Yeah. Stop. Why do I do this to myself? Because I love games, I guess.
Awesome. Well, I think that's a good place to wrap up there. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us on this episode as we went over the predictions of what we think is going to hit or miss for 2023. If you like that and you want to hear more, we have a whole catalog full of episodes. You can find them on our link tree. That's linktr.ee/PixelPlay Podcast. You can check us out there. We have a Discord if you want to be part of us. All the links are there. Follow us on our socials. If you like the show, we only ask one favor, or two, I suppose. 1, leave us a like and a review. And 2, let us know, or let your friends know about it so they can also enjoy this wonderful content that we make. I've been your host, Kaylan, aka Catastrophe, joined as always by Adam and Chris. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you guys next week. Bye for now.